You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 186. Today, guys, I just want to do a real quick lesson about one teeny tiny part of your practice that matters more than you might think. What happens when your clients call you? Not text, not email, not send something through the contact form on your website. What happens when they call you? What do they hear? If you don't get this right, you may have a client who is leaning into you that then turns around and walks away. I had a recent experience that has made me realize that we need to talk about this. So that's where we're going to go today. And I want you to hang on to the end because I've got, honestly, a little script I'm going to give you that I think you might actually appreciate. Okay? So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host, and I am so happy to be hanging out with you today. How you guys doing? The day I am recording this is an absolutely gorgeous day, and I actually this morning joined a friend for an early trip up to the Smokies where we did a short hike this morning. The wildflowers are beginning to pop out. When you look closely, there are all kinds of little bits of color and magic beginning to show on the forest floor, and it was so delightful to get to go do that. I haven't been up there in a while, and I haven't been on a trail in a while, and I have to say that was good for my soul. And I hope wherever you are that you are doing something that's good for your soul too, because that makes everything else in your life better, does it not? Yeah. So let's talk about what I want to cover this week. I'm hoping I'm going to keep this short. I know that's not my forte, but I'm really going to try. What we're going to talk about this week seems like a minor issue, but it isn't. This is important, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. You'll see why it's important. And let me just say real quick, guys, if you like this content, if this is helpful to you, please take a moment and leave me a review over on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you happen to listen to your podcast. Those reviews really do help me in all kinds of ways, more than you would think. And it would mean a lot to me if you would do that. So I would really appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about what I want to share with you. So recently I had an experience that is a great example of how quickly something tiny can happen that can completely shift the way a potential client or referral source might see you and your practice. And it made such an impression on me that when this happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to talk about this on the podcast, because I was frankly a little surprised at it. But now the more I've had time to sort of process it and think about it, I'm like, I think I should not have been surprised, because I suspect this probably happens more often than I know in today's world. So here's the scenario. Here's what happened. I needed to contact a therapist, not in my area. If you are around me and you're thinking this is you, it ain't. Okay. This therapist was actually out of state, but I needed to contact a therapist about something. This person had an area of expertise I wanted to talk to them about. So I did not know this therapist. I had never met this person, but I had heard about this person. So I was like, where are they? How do I reach them? So I did what we all do, right? I looked this person up online, right? That's where we start. I was looking for a very specific kind of resource. So I found the therapist, and I found this person's practice. I found the group practice this person was a part of, knew nothing about these folks at all. No prior contact, nothing. I just knew that this person had a particular area of expertise I wanted to lean into. So I go find the person. I find the practice this person is a part of, and I'm like, oh, this looks good. This looks really good. It was a really nice website. This particular practice had several clinicians. It looked like a very established, organized, professional business, all the things you would expect to see in a well-run, fully established practice, right? Exactly what I would expect. And they did something right that not a lot of people do. They had a phone number that was easy to see. I say this because, y'all, one of the patterns that I'm noticing, not just among folks like us, but actually in a lot of small businesses, even in other industries, it is happening where you need a resource or you need someone's expertise and you can't find a phone number. Like, it's kind of amazing to me. I've had that happen a couple of times now in things that have nothing to do with what we're all about here. Don't do that. Like, people do still actually want to call. Some people will text, some people will answer a contact form on a website, but you're also going to have people who are just going to pick up the phone and call. So this practice did have that part right. They had a phone number that was easy to see, and that's what I did. I picked up the number and I called. And what I heard immediately just killed it. I mean, immediately. Well-established practice, full-fledged website, lots of clinicians, clearly a depth of service that they provide to their community. And when I called, what I got was, the Google subscriber you have reached is not available. Please leave a message. What? The Google subscriber you have reached is not available. Please leave a message. Now, I have no idea if this is a common practice, but it's occurred to me that it might be. And that's why I want to talk to you about this. Because if there's even a remote chance that you've done this, whether you are a solo provider and it's just you, or whether you are part of a group of some sort, please don't do this. Here's what was wrong with that. Immediately, first of all, no practice name, no name of a person. There was literally no information that told me anything. Did I actually have the right phone number even? Had I misdialed? I hung up and called back because actually that was my thought. I thought, oh, I must have dialed that wrong. No. And I'm not going to lie, in that moment, personally, I was just annoyed. It was just kind of irritating because I'm like, oh, come on, people. Right? Like, let's not do this, okay? Because it literally told me nothing about this practice. But think about this. If I had been a counseling client, if I had been someone who was struggling, if I had been someone who was hurting, if I had been someone that had taken days, if not weeks, months, or a year to get up the nerve to ever call at all, I probably would have moved on because I couldn't even tell if I'd reached the right place. Right? And I certainly did not feel connected, welcomed, informed. See, here's the thing. First impressions matter. And yes, there are lots of ways that you make a first impression on your potential clients that you don't even know you're making. When you are out in the community and you're having an exchange with a checkout clerk at a store or a server in a restaurant, and somewhere in that conversation they find out that you are a healer of some type, you just made an impression not only for yourself as a practitioner, but for your industry. And you have already made it likely or unlikely that that person might want to ever call you, right? When you are at a networking event, when you give a talk, when you speak to a Sunday school class at your church, or speak to your chamber, or go to some kind of a professional conference and you give one of the breakout sessions, anytime you are in front of a group of any kind, you are making a first impression. When you walk into a room and greet people or don't, you are making a first impression. And yeah, your online profiles, that makes an impression too. I have talked about that in the past on here, so I'm not going to do that now. But all of that matters, yes. And your first impression, the first impression a potential client or, notice this, referral source has when they meet you is going to make all kinds of difference. When somebody feels vulnerable or uncertain, especially, that first point of contact carries even extra emotional weight. Now, in my case, I wasn't like, I wasn't a potential client. I'm a colleague calling a colleague. But don't you know that made an impression to me about this practice? They could be the best clinicians ever. The services they provide sounded awesome. For all I know, they are spectacular. But the Google subscriber you have called did not make me want to call them back. Didn't make me want to lean in. Didn't make me want to get to know them, right? So let's don't do that. I want you to think about this. So your voice, your message, how easy it is for people to find you, to connect with you, all of those things that make a difference. And little bitty operational details, they communicate a meta message. They show your potential clients that you are competent, that this practice knows what they're doing, that this is already right off the bat. It makes people feel like when it's good, oh, this might be a safe place for me. I feel welcomed here, right? Because people don't know you clinically, they don't know you at all. They are making all kinds of assumptions, fair or unfair, and most of them are unconscious. When they interact with your online social profiles, when they go to your website, when they send you an email, or when they call you, they are thinking things like this. They're looking, do these people seem reliable? Are they organized? Is this a professional outfit? Are they safe? And the whole way that experience unfolds from the beginning sets the tone for the work you might do with them. If it's confusing, or worse, impersonal or sloppy, doubt creeps in, okay? And in these large group practices, I'm going to tell you because I've had sort of like a variety of experiences at this point. In these large group practices, it is really easy for your potential clients to get lost. I'm just telling you. I've tried to find therapists for friends of mine. I often am trying to find therapists for people that I am not necessarily a good fit for whatever reason. I can't tell you how many people contact me looking for a couples therapist, and that's not what I do, or looking for help with their adolescent, and that's not what I do anymore. So I am frequently trying to find resources out there. And even when I do find Therapist A online, and I like what Therapist A has to say, there's something about them that I'm like, oh, this person looks like a really strong potential. And then I call their group practice, and it is hard as heck to connect with them directly. It's hard to leave them a voicemail. It's hard to get their personal email or their personal contact number. I'm going through some kind of an impersonal center office. All of that makes it harder too. I'm not saying don't do that. Sometimes you have to do that, but there are things you can do that make this better, okay? We spend a lot of time thinking about our logos, our website, what kind of niche we're in, like all these things that sort of like set our brand up. But these little bitty infrastructure matters. These little bitty systems issues matters too. Everybody notices it, whether it's conscious or not. Referral sources, potential clients, even your colleagues who just want to have coffee with you, right? Like, that kind of stuff matters. Okay. And as I already said, if people are especially anxious and they've been having to work up the nerve to call you at all, if what they encounter feels a little off, they may just hang up and call somebody else. Not because you're not great at what you do, but because it just didn't feel right to them. So your greeting on your phone is the first time they hear your voice. All right? It's the first time they hear your voice. If you have a video on your website, they might have had some sense of your energy beforehand, and that's always a good thing. But most of you haven't done that. So this is important, y'all. And let's talk about what to do about it. Okay? So the tricky part is, this is more important than you think. The tricky part is your greeting on your phone, even if this is your cell phone, y'all, sets the tone for your work. And it may be pulling people closer. It may be inviting them to lean in, or it may be driving them away just because it's not warm and friendly, or it's not clear, or it's impersonal, or it just doesn't feel, it feels off in some way. But here's the good news. This is a very easy fix. It's a very, very easy fix. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. In a nutshell, your greeting on any phone that is related to your business, whether it is your personal cell phone that potential clients might call, whether it is an actual landline into your office, whatever it is, or y'all, if it's a Google phone, I don't care. In a nutshell, your business voicemail greeting should do 3 simple things. It should connect with your caller. It should inform them in some very basic and important way, and it should instruct them exactly what to do next. It should connect by letting them know that they have reached the right place, tell them who you are, what this is, thank them for calling, connect with them. It should inform them, tell them how things work, like when you're in the office, when they might expect a return call, during regular certain hours or on certain days, for example. And it should tell them exactly what to do next, what to expect and what to do. Okay? Connect, inform, instruct. And I told you I want to help you out. I'm going to give you a script for this. So when I ran a large group practice for all of those years, one of the things I had to deal with was that each of our providers had their own voicemail box. So somebody could call the general practice, but then if they wanted to reach a specific clinician in our office, I wanted them to be able to do that and not have to go through some kind of a front desk, right? So I had to leave a greeting that welcomed people, did what I just told you needed to happen, but also kind of gave them all those voicemail numbers. And there was a lot to that. I'm not going to take up time now, but it took a little practice to get this figured out. It took a little practice. But in the end, I did come up with a very simple, relatable script that did what it needed to do: connect, inform, and instruct. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to read this script to you, and then I'm going to give you a pro tip. Okay? So here's a sample for your personal greeting. This will help you get started. Now, if you've got a group practice, you would want to tweak this in certain ways, but this will at least get you started. And just go back and listen to this again. Y'all play it slow, write it down, okay? Or if you want to, email me and I'll put it in writing for you. But here's a real simple script. Hello, and thank you for calling XYZ Counseling. This is your name, and you have reached my confidential voicemail. I am in this office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and if you will leave your name, number, and a brief message, I will call you back as soon as I can on any of those given days. In the meantime, you can learn more about what we have to offer over on our website at www.xyzcounseling.com. And of course, as always, if this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911 or go to your closest hospital emergency room. Thanks a lot for calling, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Simple. Now, I know as I was saying that, some of that sounds really familiar to you because some of that is fairly common script for a lot of voicemail greetings, right? But here's what I did that people don't always do. 1, speak in a warm and friendly voice. 2, let them know that this is confidential. Like if they're calling a front desk and not a clinician, you might say, although I am not the clinician, if you will leave your message, I'll make sure the right person gets it, something along those lines. But tell them if it is or isn't confidential. 3, tell them when you're there and when you return calls. If you only return calls after 4 or between 4 and 6 every day, or if you return calls on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but not when you're out of the office, or if you return calls while you're in the office, but they are also welcome to text you on Thursdays and Fridays, tell them that. Whatever it is, whatever your particular pattern is for how and when they can contact you, say that. And when you are likely to return their calls. I used to say that I would return their calls within 1 to 2 regular business days. That would buy me a little time. Okay. Although I tried to return them that day, if at all possible. And in our world, we do have to address emergencies. So if there's an emergency, hang up, dial 911, go to your hospital emergency room, and then close with a warm thank you. Thanks a lot for calling. We'll talk to you again soon. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So you want to sound like a human being that has connected with them, told them how things work, what to expect, and what to do next. So what to do next in this case is just wait for a return call, but it's also could be Outside of hours, you are welcome to text me up until 8 p.m. Outside of hours, you're welcome to send me an email, and I'm happy to respond that way as well. Whatever it is you want to do, you tell them a very clear call to action, okay? So those are options that you can add on. Like you can also, like if you have an online scheduling tool, if you want them to schedule that free 15-minute call, you can put a little segment in here that says, one of the fastest ways to reach us is to go through our online scheduling tool and schedule a 15-minute free consult where we will set aside some specific time for you. You can find that here, and you tell them where to go get it. See? So you can add in options. You can tweak this in a way that fits your particular practice. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to sound intentional, warm, human, and still professional. Here's the pro tip. Write out your script before you record it and save it. Save it because you may need to change that greeting from time to time, especially if you are a solo provider, or even if you're in a group practice, but you have your own little voicemail box. Your own greeting will be unique to you, right? And if you are going to be on vacation, you're going to want to change that to say that you're out of the office for certain times. If you've got somebody covering for you, you're going to want to say that, right? And you'll want to write that out too. I literally had a Google Doc where I had my standard greeting and then a vacation greeting, an out sick greeting, so that I could change it whenever I needed to and I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. So write out your script, read it out loud a few times, make sure that it is quick, clean, crisp, and then record it and save that so you can come back and do it again when you need to, because you will. Now, if you have a group practice, you may have to adapt this to fix different people to fit whatever kind of voicemail setup you have in your practice. If you need specific help with that, or you want me to come up with a script for that, tell me. I'm happy to do so, but I kind of think that's going to be unique to your particular practice. All right, does that help? Do you see where I'm going with this? Please do not be generic. Do not be make sure they know they've reached the right place, and be warm and friendly and tell them what to expect and what to do. Being professional doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean that everything you do is in alignment with who you are. So if your website's beautiful, but your system, your response is sort of chaotic or weird or unresponsive, people will feel that like it doesn't match, okay? But on the other hand, if every step of the experience feels thoughtful and steady, what happens is people sort of relax. And that begins to build trust before you ever even speak to them. Even here on the podcast, you would be amazed at how many of my guests comment on how we handle this here. Like I did an interview yesterday with someone that you're going to be hearing from in a few weeks. I'm not going to give it away now. It was awesome. But as this happens all the time, at the end of this conversation yesterday, this guest said, I just have to compliment you on how well this whole thing has been handled. You guys really have got this nailed down. And I'm like, thank you. Because we have this whole process about how we connect with people, what we want them to do, what we need from them, what they can expect when they actually hop on a call with me, etc., and what happens when their episode goes live. Like we have all of that mapped out, and we are very careful about it. And people comment on that all the time. In your practice, your clients will begin to connect with you and trust you before they ever meet you. Okay, and your systems need to reflect the caliber of your work, the quality of your service. All right? That's it. That's what I've got for you today. And if you have a few minutes this week, here's a suggestion. Why don't you call your own number? Use a different phone if it's on your cell. Call from somebody else's phone. But when was the last time you listened to your own greeting? Have you done that lately? If not, you might want to try it. It could be eye-opening. And maybe really encouraging. Like you may come away from that going, I think that was great. I think we're good. And if so, yay for you. But if not, now you know what to do about it, right? Right. All right, everybody. That's what I got for you today. I am keeping it short. Yay. Have an awesome week. Do something with this. Enjoy it. I hope it helps you. And I will see you next week right here on the Ideal Practice Podcast. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if ideal practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.